Environmental action did used to be partisan. The EPA was started by Richard Nixon in 1970. He signed the Clean Water Act, he signed the Clean Air Act, he signed the Endangered Species Act. In 2008, Nancy Pelosi and Newt Gingrich did a commercial together to fight climate change. That wasn't that long ago. You know what happened since then? The infusion of dark money into climate denial. So campaign finance reform is another big question, but to biodiversity. First of all, we have to repower the EPA and restore professional staff and scientists that Trump has taken out, and do all the horrible rules that he has done to enforce our laws. Entities like the National Resources Defense Council and now AGs all across the country are protecting and fighting against the Trump administration. At the law school, one of the acts that I did before I left to run for office was host a forum on county government, city and county governments suing oil and gas companies under tort or public nuisance and trespass. So there are creative litigation strategies we can do to make sure that these people act far more responsibilities, enforce the laws, address climate change, and reintroduce and protect our public lands.
Would any other candidates like to rebut? Please raise your hand. Lorena?
I just want to add, I think one thing that we sometimes touch on, we often miss on as a major component of climate change, especially when we're talking about biodiversity, is the ocean. I think that one of the things that we all need to really work for and work towards is making sure that we have a dedicated team and make sure that within the EPA that we actually have a hope spot division. It's not okay that people are fighting tooth and nail to preserve sections of our ocean that if they die, we die. So we need to make sure that we are focusing more on protecting our oceans and protecting the lives that are in the ocean through hope spots.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I'd like to actually thank Alice for her response, and I heard your call for more scientists and experts in office, and here I am. While I have your time, I would like to just note a couple things that I've been kind of picking up on and add a few discussion points. So the first one is that regarding a just transition, and so I think we need to acknowledge that what is just for one person making, say, 100K is not the same that is just for someone making 25K. We need to scale that accordingly and specifically adjust transition not only for individuals, but specifically for rural communities. I'm from a rural background. This is something that we are preparing for the hit. If you are exactly, for example, if you have a coal plant or something like that that's going to be closing, some towns like up in Routt County are getting ready to lose about 30 to 40% of their tax dollars for things like schools and libraries. So I'd like to just add that to the just transition component. Second of all, I'd like to put a topic on climate migration. So specifically, this is the concept of adaptation.
Would you like to respond?
Sure, I'll just add one other thing, because I'm hoping students will apply for this. For the last 10 years, with some colleagues around the country, I've run the Rocky Mountain Science and Sustainability Network. It takes a group of 25 college students every May to Tetons in Yellowstone, mostly STEM majors, but also some policy majors, and 80% of the cohort is students of color. And the overall layer is teaching scientists about sustainability, and the part that I teach is how to help scientists and future researchers really talk with policymakers so they can be the most efficient and really help drive the correct policy and have a big say in how we move forward. Because I think having data-based and evidence-based policy is going to be what makes us or breaks us. So Rocky Mountain Science and Sustainability Network, look it up. It's available to all undergrads. For free. It's a National Science Foundation grant.
Thank you.
This next question is surrounding carbon emissions in farming. Almost a quarter of the carbon emissions come from the human-driven land use, including agriculture, food production, and cattle farming. Farmers are also bear the brunt of the impacts of climate change because of droughts, flooding, severe weather, and warmer temperatures. What will you do to include farmers in the fight against climate change? What will you do to help farmers increase their climate resiliency? This question is for Angela.
Well, thank you for the question. And many of you may not know, but I grew up on a farm in rural Oklahoma where my parents raised cattle and we had horses and fresh vegetables. So I understand the importance of the farming industry. And Colorado farming and ranching generates almost $40 billion a year in economic output. And we need to understand that farmers and ranchers are like business owners too, and we need to treat them as such. But in order to bring together farmers and ranchers from across the state, I will bring in farmers and ranchers from across the state and across the country as your United States Senator, because I think farming looks differently in different parts of the country. But when it comes to our state, we need farmers at the table helping us with the solutions, with the challenges that they may face, and the solutions for climate change. I've traveled the state already and have met and had conversations with farmers down in the southern part of the state. I think we need to do things like protect the Rio Grande River from corporations coming in trying to sell the water downstream, because farmers do depend on that for their farms and their ranches. And I think in the future what we can do to help these farmers with their climate resiliency is that through efficient irrigation management, maximizing our energy through wind farms, through efficiencies, increasing the soil health through carbon farming, protecting our farmlands, and having climate-friendly policies, and reducing methane emissions for our farmers.
Thank you. Does anybody want to rebuttal?
I don't want to rebuttal, I just want to affirm and then just add, you know, water is incredibly important to life, but for sure here in the state of Colorado. When the federal government, the Water Act is so outdated, and what it does is it actually incentivizes overuse. We need to overhaul the way we even view water and make sure that we incentivize conservation. Another thing, even the whole farming needs to be relooked at, even just nationally. The government offers incentives to states like Arizona to plant cotton, which is a water-hogging crop. There is no reason for us to be planting cotton in Arizona. And so we need to be more strategic for the whole state and for water conservation, but specifically in the state of Colorado where we have limited water supply.
Does anybody else want to respond? Going once.
Great.
Would you want to respond to anything that was said? No.
Thanks. This next question is for Trish. According to a Nature study in 2015, at least 82% of the known fossil fuel reserves, including 90% of the coal reserves and 100% of the Arctic oil and gas reserves, must be kept in the ground to prevent runaway climate change. How will you work to accomplish this in the Senate?
Thank you so much for the question. Actually, when I picked this out of the hat, I was extremely excited. Look, so on page 7 and 8 of the proposal that we have put out, in addition to calling for an Office of Climate Mobilization, we have laid out a series of legislative priorities that should take place within the first 3 to 6 months. In addition to things like carbon pricing, there are 2 that I'd like to point out. The first one is that we would like to propose for fossil fuel energy transition, specifically by ceasing all new fossil fuel extraction permits beginning in 2021, ceasing hydraulic fracturing within 10,000 feet of communities and eliminating all hydraulic fracturing by 2023, with mandates on responsible cleanup and withdrawal. Additionally, we'd like to have fuel efficiency standards. We'd like to have electric vehicle and e-bike credits because, as it turns out, most vehicle trips, about 50% or more, are actually under 3 miles, and we would like to incentivize people to change their mode of transportation and reduce energy consumption to begin with. The third thing I'd like to talk to you about, which is a little bit different than you might have heard before, is a restructuring of budgets and missions. Specifically, I'm going to point out the one